We have some big NFL storylines to get to on today's episode that impact your Atlanta Falcons. But quick reminder that tomorrow, Thursday, will be my final live show on Falcons Today as I make a complete career change and start a new chapter after my wedding, which is in a week and a half now. But really excited for this live show. Please come hang out with us. If you've never joined a live show before, this is a great one to stop by. Now, let's get into some of the NFL storylines that everyone is talking about. And we'll get to the Tush Push portion of it in just a moment. But in terms of, impact on the Falcons, I think the playoff seeding storyline might have a bigger impact than the Tush Push ban not happening. Spoiler. So if you missed it, the Detroit Lions, which is kind of funny enough that they were the ones that recommended this rule change of division winners don't get seeded 1 through 4. It's just purely by best record, given that they nearly missed out on hosting a playoff game because the Minnesota Vikings had such a great record and they finished as the 5 seed. But anyway, I digress. The rule change that the Lions proposed to do away with division winners getting an automatic home game, that did not even make it to the table, did not make it to the conversation or the floor at all. It was killed before the NFL owners convened today on Wednesday, May 21st. And I think this is a good thing for the Falcons. And I say this from a historical standpoint because I'm looking at the last 5 NFC South champs, and it's all the Buccaneers. And if they had this new playoff format that the Lions suggested, here's where the NFC South would have actually been seeded on the right. The Bucs go from a 3 seed to the 6 seed, then from the 4 seed to the 6 seed. In 2022, they missed the playoffs altogether. 2021, they stay the same. Only once where they actually improve their seeding. Now, I'm not here to advocate for the Buccaneers, but I am here to advocate for the NFC South a little bit. And just going off the recent trends of the division, if Atlanta wins the NFC South, look at the bar right now to win the division. It's not very high. A lot of 9-8s, a lot of 10-7s, 8-9s kind of records in there. So if the Falcons have a 9-8 season or a 10-7 season and win the division, I would like for them to host a playoff game. And under the current format, that would happen. Under the proposed format by the Lions, we just saw what happened with the Buccaneers. Do you want that to happen to Atlanta? I know it's loser talk to go, under the current system, it benefits us, even though it may not be the best thing for the strong and mighty teams. And in a perfect world, the Atlanta Falcons are one of those strong and mighty teams. But we're not at that stage right now. So I like the current system for a few reasons. One, I love the idea of winning your division means something. It means nothing in the NBA. It means something in baseball, probably just as much as it does in the NFL. It means somewhat a little bit in the NHL. But I love the idea of Week 18, division game, for a playoff spot, for a home game. You snip your balls off when you do that. When Week 17 and 18 are not about hosting a playoff game, are not about winning the division anymore. I don't want to lose sight of that. I love division rivalries. And if you do away with automatic home playoff game if you win your division, I think the trickle-down effect in 5-10 years from now is division games just don't matter that much anymore, right? And that would blow. You should hate the Saints, and your kids and their kids and their kids should hate the Saints. And if they get rid of that, I can't guarantee that's going to happen. On to the next storyline. The Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles are going to include flag football. That is not new. What is new is that the NFL owners approved players being permitted to play in the Olympics. We've seen like hockey kind of go back and forth with this. They, didn't have NHL players for such a long time. Shout out Miracle. Then they bring the players in. Then they didn't have the players in the 2022 Winter Olympics in South Korea. Then they came back, or they're coming back. But anywho, the NFL is going to have their stars play flag football in 2028. So I want to say a few things about how the Olympic flag football format works, because I think we're all just kind of rushing to rushing to conclusions on how this all is formatted. So it's 5-on-5. You've got 10 players on your roster, a quarterback, a center. It's just someone who snaps the ball to the quarterback, but then they go out and run a route. So it's a receiver. And then a receiver or a running back, you can line them up in the backfield. We'll look at the rules in a moment. And then on defense, you've got a rusher and then 4 DBs. So here are the flag football rules. It's a 70 by 25 yard size field. You've got 40 minutes to play with 2 20-minute halves, 4 downs to reach midfield, and then 4 downs to score a touchdown. You cannot run the ball within 5 yards of the end zone, so it's still advantageous to have a running back for a good chunk of that field. And overtime as each team gets a possession. So here's how the Falcons could play into this. 4 guys come to mind for the 2028 Olympics that could have a spot on Team USA. Bijan Robinson is a great receiver, obviously a fantastic rusher. I don't think it's a stretch for him in 3 years to be on Team USA. Drake London would make the most sense of the receivers, but flag football, I'm no expert. It is all about speed. There's no tackling. And if you're a receiver who dominates because of your physicality, you may not be the best fit. James Pearce, I think with the speed he brings, could be a fantastic rusher, knowing all opposing quarterbacks are going to be lightning fast. And then Jessie Bates is just a ball hawk DB who would be a nightmare for any poor European quarterback to go up against. Here's the Olympic team I cooked up. Lamar at quarterback. You could swap him out with Jaden Daniels because it's important to remember that 3 years from now, Lamar may not be quite as fast, but Jaden Daniels is going to be electric still. Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan, you can't go wrong with either one. And then I just went chalk. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. It's Team LSU right there. Malik Nabers. Those are 3 guys I expect to be outstanding receivers by then still. I got speed at rusher. Micah Parsons and Nolan Smith. And then at DBs, Travis Hunter, he can play both ways. Pat Surtain can play both ways. Derek Stingley, he's one of the fastest corners out there as well. I went pure speed. So of the 4 Falcons that I tossed out there, which one do you think should be on Team USA? I would go with Bijan as a safe play, but Pearce could be a really good sneaky addition because he is just so fast. It's going to be very difficult for some Italian quarterback to evade him in open space. All right, before we move on to the Tush Push portion of the show, I do want to give a quick special shout out to our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Cash in on basketball playoffs with PrizePicks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the core to your PrizePicks lineups. It's super simple and easy to use. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. So full disclosure, I kind of scripted out this show expecting the Tush Push to be banned, and then right before we started filming, the verdict came down, and I added a question mark. So it's no longer a question mark. There is no ban. That's why I added the question mark, because it's not banned anymore. So there is no Tush Push ban. We put the question mark back in there. That's why I had it there. Anywho, so this was one of the biggest, I don't want to say stories, but overblown stories in terms of the attention it got and the airtime it's been getting for a rule change that, 1, I don't agree with, and 2, I'm glad did not go through. Also, kind of a tough week, month, year for Dianna Russini because no one has said more things about it getting banned than her. And then it failed to get the minimum 75% votes to get banned. It had 10 votes, 32 teams, 22 teams voted to ban it. They were 2 votes short. Now, my take on this is the Philadelphia Eagles play the Green Bay Packers Week 10 on Monday Night Football following Philly's bye. 1st and 10, they should do the tush push. 2nd down, they should do the tush push. There will be no 3rd down because they will have had the 1st down after the first 2 plays. I think banning the tush push is soft. There is really no evidence that supports that there is a bunch of injuries that can come into play. Also, it's very hypocritical to all of a sudden have major injury concerns in football of all sports when you just don't like that someone else can do something better than you. If you truly care about player safety, there would be much more sweeping changes made to protect players. You can't pull the player safety card and then say, but we're going to add an extra game onto your schedule, and we're going to make you play on Thursday night despite your body not recovering from Sunday. That's bullshit. You can't have it both ways, Roger. You can't have them play on a short week. You can't have them play on a Wednesday on Christmas Day because you want to dominate that market and then pull the safety card. Nuh-uh. They just don't like it because one team is way better at it than other teams, and it's not good for TV. But here's what I can't understand. Who cares? Is there anyone who's like, turn the game off? They did the tush push thing again, and I hate that. So I'm taking my business to the UFL. I think banning the tush push is soft. The Eagles do not have an advantage that any other team can't gain. It's not as if it's a cheat code or a broken play that everyone can use, right? That would be the case if you could do multiple forward passes. If in the 1920s, someone had the idea of, hey, after we throw it forward once, what if we do it again? And then everyone did it, and they're like, all right, well, this isn't fun anymore. That's a good change. Only one forward pass. What's stopping all 31 other teams from doing the tush push? They don't have the personnel to do it. So, soft. Also, once more, I'll take this opportunity to say the Atlanta Falcons were the only team to beat the healthy 2024 Eagles. So, that might not be banner worthy, but maybe like a towel. We beat the 2024 Eagles with Jalen Hurts. There should be something on ink somewhere in Mercedes-Benz about it. All right, some other NFL news that came out today as the owners convened. This is an interesting rule change that I like. So the NFL owners passed a rule change that would allow teams to declare an onside kick at any point during the game. Last year, you could only do it in the 4th quarter. Now, if you're trailing at any point, you can do it 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th quarter. That's cool. But here's the really cool part. They will now kick from the 34 instead of the 35. So the players are going to be, if I understand this correctly, only 9 yards away. So basically, the players before were 1 yard behind the football. Now they're 1 yard in front of it. So it's going to make onside kick recoveries a little bit easier since that has become such a dormant part of the game and nothing happens and there's hardly any recoveries. So I'm a fan of this. I think the 4th and 20 idea is dumb. I think people are just trying to make sure that teams are never out of games. If you are down so bad in the 4th quarter that you need a 4th and 20 to come back, you should have played better in quarters 1 through 3. I don't like the idea. It's kind of like when you're throwing, a piece of paper in the trash and you miss and they go, but 3 seconds got added onto the clock. Like you just keep doing that in your front yard on your hoop. It's fun in your front yard. I don't think it should be made for TV where we're always going to extend lifelines to teams that sucked for 55 minutes so that the last 5 minutes are interesting. If you were bad for 55 minutes to the point that you need a 4th and 20 to just have a chance to make it a 1-score game, I'm okay with you not having that chance. Before we sign off, let's pick a name from the comment section to give 2 claps to. All right, Reed, spin that wheel. Who's it going to be? Looking good for Kevin. Shout out to Kevin. 2 claps for you, bud. 1, 2. All right, we'll see everyone later.